always in the hearts of the flowers.
Okay. Hello. So, could everybody come into silence and tune in? Would you bring your love here for the traveler? That brings things good. So, first of all, welcome to everybody here. It's 2015. Yay. And my name is Lee Taylor Young Morton. And I want to welcome everybody out there who's joining us online. In fact, in the welcome, I want to share with all of us who's joining us online. We have the United Kingdom. Love and blessings to everyone I mentioned. Brazil, Argentina, Chile, the Netherlands, Canada, the US, Colombia. We're going there in about 2 weeks, so Bogota and Cali and all of Colombia. Spain, France, Corinne, Australia, and Mexico. So God bless everybody, and thank you for being with us. I would like to ask how many people with us today are new to this experience of being at Prana? Would you raise your hand? Well, first of all, welcome. You may have felt it already, but those of you who are new, you are surrounded by love. And there's more to come. This is an amazing, amazing place. And you'll be learning about the movement of spiritual inner awareness. This is the home of the traveler, the home of MSIA, and also of Peace Theological Seminary and the Labyrinthine Garden. So on your chairs, hopefully you have a journal, you have a pen, and you have the brochure on the labyrinth. And if you don't, would you kindly raise your hand and we'll have somebody bring you what you need. So that's good. So the movement of spiritual inner awareness was founded by John Roger. And most of the people in this room regard him as the dearest beloved in their hearts and their spirits and their very, very, very best friend. He passed away October 22nd this year, last year, 2014. And I think that we all could attest that as much as we dearly, dearly miss the idea of him being with us in the physical, that he is evermore with us in the spirit. And he was noted as the mystical traveler consciousness. He held that consciousness. That consciousness is a consciousness that takes us into soul and beyond. So the movement of spiritual inner awareness is about soul transcendence. And we have a wonderful man with us today who's going to lead us in today's event, John Morton. Yay. I see you. John Morton has inherited the mantle, the legacy of John Rogers' work, and he's anchoring that consciousness and he is taking us forward. And we're so blessed to have him with us today. So before we get the blessing of John Morton, I have the honor of delivering to you so much information. And before I do that, I'd like us all to attune in the light. So again, those of you who are new with us today, I'm sure you're not really new with us, but we do something called invoking the light of the Holy Spirit. And there are many ways of viewing the light, but I think the easiest is to say that the light is that direct radiation from the heart of God. And we invoke it, we attune to it, we come together in that energy. The way we do it is we close our eyes. And if any words I use are not familiar, then please replace them with what works for you. So if I say Jesus the Christ and you prefer Buddha, then all are welcome here who love God and who are loving. So here we go. Father, Mother, God. Now that's new for me. So is that our translation? Oh, well, that's fine. I call that a sharing. But I just want to check. Okay. Are we ready? So, okay. And share away. Father, Mother, God, we call ourselves forward into the light of the Holy Spirit. We open our hearts and our souls to receive the fullness of your presence. We ask for the Christ consciousness. And we ask for the mystical traveler and the preceptor consciousness. We send the light and our loving to our beloved John Roger, knowing that you're with us now. And we hold in the light our beloved mystical traveler who's with us this day, John Morton. And Father, we know that the Christ and the traveler are in each one of us. We ask for blessings on this day as we're guided into our new resolution, our new resolve to love more, to be more of what you call us to. We ask for your guidance, your presence once again, and we do all our loving, all our service in your name. Berush Bishan. Well, for those of you who are new, I did not share with you what that was. But my prayer is you feel it, and you feel the love of it. The Anai is empathy, and the Hu is an ancient name of God. When we chant it together, we bring in the love of God and the compassion of God. So, again, you're in the home of MSIA, and John Roger is the spiritual advisor. John Morton, who's with us today, is the spiritual director. So just to give yourselves a little sense of this day, we'll be going until 12 noon. Then there's going to be a labyrinth walk. And with this gorgeous property is a labyrinth. And when you walk the labyrinth, there is information on your chair about it. But we'll be walking it together under the guidance of John Morton. It's an incredible opportunity to complete the old year and let it go, and to bring forward all that's good for this next time. And John will share more about it later. During the brunch, which will be happening at 12:30 after the labyrinth walk, that will go however long it goes. This place will start to close around 2, but during brunch or after brunch, if you want to keep walking through the gardens, please feel free to do so. And there's information that's outside, products and so forth, that will be open during brunch. That will be study materials, there's gifts, all kinds of beautiful things about John Roger and John Morton. First thing, could we turn off all things that make noise? So if you forgot, which I often do myself, this is a good time to turn off phones. Let's see. Your journal and pen is a gift from Prana. All right, so what I'm going to ask now is for online people, first of all, excuse me for not looking in the camera. Anyway, for online people, I'm going to have Julie pick up her mic and just guide you, so if there's anything you're not getting or understanding, she can give it to you online. Come on.
Good morning, Happy New Year. So right above the video player where you're watching me right now, right above my head, you'll see a link for your journal, for your labyrinth. Also, there's instructions if we do an exercise where you can call in with Maestro. And if Dawn takes some sharing, you're welcome to email in questions. And the email address is right above the video player, MSIA live1@gmail.com. God bless you.
Okay. Makes it all work out there. So I'm going to tell you about, before we get the blessing of John, I'm sure the blessings are going on right now, but it's always fun to have him up here instead. So there's several events coming up that are really, really beautiful. On January 5th, there is a prayer for peace. It's a tele-event. It's from 12 noon to 12:30 p.m. This is a free 30-minute event where you can simply dial in via your phone or Skype and join peacemakers around the world who will also be dialing in to visualize peace for this planet and state your intentions towards peace. There is a wonderful website that's MSIA's website, which is msia.org. That information of everything I announce now will also be on that website. The next event is January 14th, and this is called Connecting with Your Inner Guide. This is a tele-workshop from 5:30 to 7 p.m. This is about learning keys of how to access the wisdom that's within each one of you. And the big event of February is an event, a live seminar with John Morton. It's called Loving God is the Way of the Masters. And this is with John on February 24th. This is sponsored by the Millennial Group. And if any of you might not know what the Millennial Group, we are learning very quickly about the millennials. They're about the age range from 18 to 35. I'm sorry, I still consider myself a millennial, so I'm going to include myself, if you don't mind. Nobody's excluded from this. And but they're sponsoring this event, and this is February 24th from 7:30 to 9:30 here at Prana. So let's see. I've mentioned MSIA.org website. Oh, good. So now we get to the real juice. Thank you for sending me light for the announcements. We're going to have 2 moments of peace. So here we go.
As the teachings of soul transcendence
Porque las enseñanzas de la trascendencia del alma
states
establecen
that through the spiritual heart do we find God.
que nosotros encontramos a Dios a través del corazón espiritual.
If you want to soul transcend,
Si quieres trascender el alma,
there's one thing you must do.
hay una cosa que debes
You
hacer.
must get in the way to do soul transcendence.
Debes ponerte en el camino de la trascendencia del alma.
You can't do it your way.
No puedes hacerlo a tu manera o en tu camino.
You got to do it the way that is set up for it to happen for you.
Tienes que hacerlo de la manera que está establecido de que cómo sucederá para ti.
If you could do it your way,
Si pudieras hacerlo a tu manera,
you would already be doing that.
ya lo estarías haciendo.
You wouldn't be here.
No estarías acá.
You'd be doing it out on the streets with everybody else.
Estarías haciéndolo en la calle con todo el mundo.
Well, here's the secret.
He aquí un secreto.
It won't be a secret in a few minutes.
Y no será un secreto en unos cuantos minutos.
Everyone on the planet,
Todo mundo que está en el planeta,
at night when they're sleeping,
cuando están durmiendo por la noche,
does soul transcendence.
hacen trascendencia del alma o la trascendencia del alma.
They go up in their spirit, soul, body,
Se van en el cuerpo del alma, en su espíritu,
into the spirit levels of God,
a los niveles espirituales de Dios,
rejuvenate the soul,
rejuvenecen el alma ya
bring it back down into the body,
y la regresan al cuerpo,
and then it rejuvenates the body again.
y eso rejuvenece el cuerpo de nuevo.
Then you get up and you start going the next day.
Y luego te levantas y continúas con tu día.
Feel the expansion of your consciousness.
Siente la expansión de tu conciencia.
Take in a deep breath.
Inhala profundamente.
That's God's energy.
Esa es la energía de Dios.
And if you look past the physical,
Y si ves más allá de lo físico,
you'll see the source of your deliverance.
verás la fuente de tu libertad.
Because God will show itself through us.
Porque Dios se mostrará a través nuestra.
And we end up seeing the beauty
Y terminaremos viendo la belleza,
that is an indication of God's presence with us.
que es una indicación o una señal de la presencia de Dios con nosotros.
Maybe you don't have enough proof yet.
Quizás no tengas o no cuentes con pruebas o evidencia
You
suficiente.
may have to study longer.
Quizá tengas que estudiar por más tiempo.
But once that happens to you,
Pero una vez que eso te suceda,
you go from mundane living
te dirigirás de una vida mundana
into illumination
a la iluminación
and enlightenment.
y al alumbramiento.
Baruch Bashan.
Baruch Bashan.
And over 25 some years of doing seminars, people have had this experience many times of leaving a seminar and riding home in the car, talk about what they heard, and nobody else heard that being said. And then they get the tape, and it wasn't on the tape. And they write to me, and I say, yes, that was said, but it was not said physically. Then they get discourses, and they read the discourses. And then they tell somebody what's on a certain discourse, and they say, that isn't that discourse. And they go, yes, it is. It's on page such and such. They go back to read it, and it isn't there, and they think I erased it. My job is soul transcendence, not erasing things out of discourses. My job has always been to remember you, that you are part of God and you are that extension of divine, and to keep you remembering yourself into that. And there's a real fundamental reason, if we just look at scientifically, just the physics of it. Well, we'd have to look at it psychologically on a lot of levels. We condition ourselves from early childhood to think and express ourselves in this contracted, conditioned form we call the physical body. And yet, there are so many evidential things that indicate to us that we are not just particularly that. We are peculiarly that, but not particularly that. That which is who we really are. It's very, very difficult to tell you the magnificence of your beingness, and that this form that reflects light, called the physical body, is just a small percentage of who and what we are. And we start to rejoice in the wondrousness that we're part of a creation that is our own, that a God creator form that we're an extension of has that type of magnificence and knows all of us by our name and recognizes us as the divinity. Berish Beshan.
That is our beloved John Roger. He used the word rejoice. And I rejoice that we're all together. I rejoice it's a new year. I rejoice in introducing John Morton. John Morton, as I said, is the spiritual director of the movement of spiritual inner awareness. He's been doing this work for decades now, taught by John Roger, and now stepping forward as our shepherd into the soul. And we're so blessed to have him. He's written a number of books. You can read more about him on the website of msia.org. But he is a great lover of God and teaches us every step of the way. John Morton.
Did you hear that? Did you want to say it again?
I forgot to say you were my husband also.
That's right. And she just happens to be my wife as well. It's a match. Thank you. Is everybody warm enough? Okay. So then I'm talking to you because who knows? Maybe there's somebody in their car, they're stuck on a highway somewhere because it's frozen or there's these things going on, and you get on the internet and it's echoing in the universe and it's cosmic sounds. Wouldn't that be interesting? Somebody's, just getting online and somehow they flash into this. They're just wondering if they're going to be rescued out of their car. Well, if that is you, just let us know. And you got the light, and one of its abilities is to teach us that whatever we need is present. So that's another thing to call for. In your resolution for yourself, that you speak for your soul, your true nature. So that's the opportunity that's here for us, that we call it forward. I heard John Roger move me again. That's a living presence. You can probably hear it in my voice. So it's alive and it's moving through us. So then we have this great ability to concentrate what is of the spiritual nature, to conduct it, to condense it into this reality. And it is a reality. This is a creation that we're all working, and one of the mystical parts of our experience is that we have forgotten so much. And that's okay, because it works in our favor to forget. So don't worry about it. Those of you who are leading the way for the millennials, often things lighten up and whiten up here. So you have less stuff on your head, or it just goes in a direction so that I think it's one of the signs we're going into the light. See, there's a reference point maybe you didn't have, that you're getting lighter up here, and then it's also a progression up in your consciousness. So it's a good sign. We're going to do something that I look at kind of like an obstacle course. Anybody here already know about yourself? You like obstacle courses. You seek them out. You like puzzles. You like challenges, because basically they're designed to bring the best out of you. So whatever might be challenging you right now, just consider that you have what you need to overcome what that challenge is in truth. And that there's a lot of truth that we're still coming awake to. And that's a great understatement I just made. I'm going to run through the course with you. It's also in a booklet, and I'm speaking for those of you in the room, although those of you online, maybe you have this booklet because you've been here before in some form. It may not be a paper form, but you have the information. So I'm just going to move right into it, that we're doing some resolution, and part of what happens in this world are things that run in cycles, like a round. So I'd like to point out some of the obvious things that maybe it's been a while since you first learned about this, that we live in a round world. Remember, there was a time, and it really, when you think about it, it's not so long ago when the predominant thinking was we live in a flat world, right? In fact, anybody still a member of the Flat World Society, and you're willing to admit that? Because I hear there's still active chapters. But in a relative way, you could say, it's flat, this floor is flat, and but as we get into the extension of it, there's rounds. So there's cycles like a year. We're in a new year, 2015 if you're counting. And of course somebody say, well, in our way of looking at years, we don't count like you do where you are in your culture, and that's okay. The numbers aren't so important. But that we find out that we're in a round, we're continuing, we're extending. This is a movement that endures to the end. So part of that is that in that cycle, there's value for your enduring. And I look at that as something that we celebrate. Like, what is this celebration we call New Year? It's something like, well, we made it. Do you understand that part of it? Like, we made it through another round of the obstacle course called a year, and all the things that come in a year, like every day comes in a year. And then in the new year, the days continue. So I do this is part of what I do, is I do the obvious, and then at some point we take off into the transcendent, which isn't so obvious. And that's already happened for you. Keep going. Like you go, I'm not even aware how many stages are on the rocket anymore. I'm just starting to feel the weightlessness of my consciousness. That's good. See, we're going lighter. So keep that going. So we're going to resolve, and that's a form of the word solve. And then the re part is just, it's like repeat. Like, we're going to do it again. We're going to solve this year. And part of that would be set up in your consciousness the awareness that goes towards knowing the truth about this year. So I just said a kind of a resolution, if you were listening, because I heard it myself. And you're in a kind of an advantageous position, because you can write things down, and I'm not going to necessarily take time. I might pull my pen out and say, you better write that down. That one was for you. So as you capture resolution for yourself here, take a moment to write it down, that the consciousness that is truth and wisdom in you is communicating. And so one of the things I do is I just kind of like, it's like what I'm seeing in my inner vision right now is I'm like shaking the tree. And sometimes the shaking of the tree brings down fruit. That happened yesterday, because we have fruit in our yard. Yeah, there's still people that have fruit in their yard. In case you're wondering, where does it come from? And so we have lemons, and we have a variety of citrus in our yard, so that right now there's really amazing tangerines that were not there last year at this time, for whatever reason. But part of the reason is that we nurtured the tree. And then when I was kind of shaking the tree, using the nozzle of a hose to help, the fruit started coming to the ground. And then I partaked. Is that correct grammar? Partook? Thank you. Because every once in a while I tell people, I missed the 5th grade. I just jumped over it. So I missed the grammar I could have learned in 5th grade. And you go, I can hear that sometimes. You say things, didn't you learn that in 5th grade? I didn't, because I skipped it. I went from 4th to 6th, and they called it accelerated program. And here I am telling about it years later. Okay, so I'm going to run through the obstacle course with you, and then you have a job, it's just capture resolution. So if I speak to something and you realize that has to do with what you would like to create, promote, and allow in this year in particular, but extend it into the round of your life that we call a lifetime. In this lifetime, you can capture resolution. Another version of that is called a bucket list. Anybody got a bucket list going? You know, before I die, boom. Before I complete with this cycle, this round of life on earth, here's what I want to do, accomplish, experience, something like that as a resolution. You know, to be aware of that. And then what I would tell you is be careful what you ask for, because there's another round called re-embodiment. Notice the re word, and you're already embodied. So in this movement, and I'm talking directly to you new people, and then whoever is still new, see, I do that. And then you didn't realize that in the movement of spiritual inner awareness, we're completing with this lifetime such that we complete with this world and all the purpose that was here for us when we arrived. I leave that to you to ponder upon, so that you might say, well, you're talking about when I was born in this lifetime? And so I'm talking about when you were born in this world in the first time of what that is, and you forgot. So remember I said we forget? That's one of the things that happens to us when we come into this world. It's called the veil. I don't care what you call it, you forget. And one of the jobs of the traveler who lives inside of you as a consciousness of the divine, to awaken you, to bring you conscious of your divine nature, is reflecting to you that you are of a divine nature that transcends this world. So our purpose in this movement, now I'm translating that into this year in the resolution, my purpose is soul transcendence. It's like, well, didn't you have that last year? I did. I'm renewing the contract this year. I'm renewing the intention this year. If it worked last year, put it in again this year. Have that resolution. Well, last year I resolved to lose 15 pounds and I didn't even come close. I gained 15 pounds. It's like, that's okay. That's just your body. It's not going on when you drop that stage of the rocket. It stays behind. And that's in your favor. Okay, you ready to run the obstacle course? All right. So in the booklet, then you can go forward to where it starts doing definitions, and there's some lines, like it looks like this, and it would be page 8 if your journal's like mine. And if you're already capturing away, you're writing things because your divine nature is speaking to you, go with that. Go with what's inside of you speaking to you. You do not need to pay attention to what I'm saying, because I'm working directly through that inner nature, because that's a job I have that's assigned spiritually. So what I do is called ham and eggs. Ham, why would we do ham and MSIA? Isn't that a little strange? I think it gets our attention, like, are you paying attention? We are. It's not that kind of ham. It's not pork. So resolution. I'm going to read to you, and again, you know, I'm reading like as in a dictionary. You read us the dictionary, somewhat, because it has meaning. Resolution has a French origin, Latin origin. It's something like resolvere, pardon my pronunciation. The process of resolving something such as a problem or dispute, a firm decision to do something. So whatever would be a problem or dispute, and you go, I don't have any, good. Well, maybe what you have is an opportunity to expand, to leap forward, to create more beautifully, more prosperously, with greater health, vitality, beauty, and grace in your life than ever before. You can just, go ahead. Would you say that again? I don't know if I could if I tried. So do you see how this is just coming through? So that was my resolution. Might take up 3 or 4 lines. I got a lot more lines I could write down. And the beauty is you're not stuck with whatever you write. So I want you to know that ahead of time. And you can rewrite that. And that's something I observe my wife doing often. She writes things down, and then later she's tearing up what she wrote down. Well, what's that about? It's like, well, she takes whatever is alive, still present, and sometimes she restates it, like rewrites it, but she drops things that are no longer present or applicable, or I already did that, I accomplished that. And that's one of the things you can do, like when we were at the Sacred Tones workshop the other night. Anybody at the Sacred Tones workshop? See, my hand's up. Then we were writing some things that in 2015 we would want to create, promote, or allow. And then another really good thing for you to do is later read what you wrote. Like, don't just write it. Like if you had God incarnate coming through you and giving you very important information, like how to win the lottery or the mega something, or, I mean, you might want that information. And sometimes it can work like that, you know, where it guides you and it's not rational or something that you in the moment understand. That's okay. If it comes through in a way that appears important to you or essential or maybe just interesting, you can write that down. Determination, firmness of mind or purpose. So that's important. I'm going to keep going because we're going to take some time with that later. Solution, an answer to a problem. A formal expression of the consensus at a meeting arrived at after discussion and usually as the result of a vote. Anybody have multiple personalities and you're willing to admit that? Okay, there's some hands up. Well, then maybe you need a vote. You know, does the majority rule? Is it a simple majority like 51% or something like that? Or do you need a 2/3 vote? Do you need unanimous? Sometimes unanimity is important in resolution to get everybody in all hands on deck with the same focus and purpose in mind. Resolution is also the quality of detail offered by a TV or computer screen. That becomes more and more important in these ages that we're in. Or a photographic image. So resolution has to do with the amount of detail that we can see, like pixels. If you're thinking, am I talking about pixies? Maybe. Pixels are little parts in an image. That's about as much as I'm going to say right now. Resolution is also separation into constituent parts, the process or act of separating something such as a chemical compound or a source of light into its constituent parts, like a prism. You know, what does a prism do? It takes visible light, and often by the nature of conducting that visible light into the prism, the glass, it spreads that light so we see multiple colors in that range. If you don't know what a prism is, you might want to find out. It's kind of one of those fun experiences. And what's the other one where you take the tube up and you, what's that called, where you look into it and kaleidoscope, thank you. That's my universe at work. ask for what you want. So if your resolution becomes a question, I want to answer this question. How do I become a multi-millionaire leading to becoming a multi-billionaire, but a multi-millionaire in 2015? So you put that in the kaleidoscope and keep turning it to see if your consciousness can track that. But amongst all the things that you're recording, which has greater importance for you in your round, we call this lifetime. So I'm putting that in for you. We also call that the highest good of all concerned. So in MSI, we use that as our filter, so that whatever we're looking at, whatever we're focusing upon, it moves through that prism of the highest good of all concerned. And we put that to the source of all knowledge, we call God. So we send it to God as an intention that what returns to us is the highest good of all concerned. It's a subsiding of symptoms, the disappearance or coming to an end of a medical symptom or condition. Maybe some of you are in that now, or you know somebody who's in that now. Well, that's a resolution. You know, that if you have a health condition, how could you have the disappearance or coming to an end of whatever the medical symptoms are or the condition for your highest good? Harmonic progression, the musical progression from a dissonant to a consonant chord or note. And just consider that that's of a frequency or a vibration that we can do that transcends music, but it certainly applies in music and sound. But it's the progression from what is dissonant or not harmonic into what is consonant or harmonic, so that it's working again in the highest good, in the highest frequencies. In the movement of spiritual inner awareness, we intend to do that. We resolve to do that with the help of Almighty God. You see, these things are pouring out. So some part of me is listening, some part of me is writing it down like script. Part of narrative, when conflict is resolved, the point in literary work when the conflict is resolved. So the story goes until, and everyone lived happily ever after, which I think is far better than the end. I mean, the end what? What happened to our hero? Well, come back next week, same time, same station, and hopefully our sponsors are paying the way, or for a small price, you can attend to see the next installment in the serial, spelled S-E-R-I-A-L. Okay, so then one of the questions of the day is, what is your resolution? By now you may have many things written. So in the obstacle course, now we're going through commitment. It's on page 10 if you want to follow along. It's from the Latin, bring together, mittiere, or mettiere, to send, to act, the act of committing, pledging, or engaging oneself, a pledge, a promise, or obligation, engagement, involvement. What is your commitment? So just be aware of that. And those of you who've been through, well, a number of our programs, but in particular I'm thinking about Insight seminars, then you know we do something referred to as a commitment check, and it's on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 would be all in, all I got, all hands on deck. I'm going for it as completely as I can. That's a 10. A 1 would be like I have almost no interest at all, but at least I can repeat the information or something like that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you might register what is your commitment toward a resolution. So this begins to clarify your values, clarify importance, clarify the meaning of it, so that if you don't even want to write it down, you might want to go on to the next resolution. Or do that thing where you restate it so that you're working on having your commitment direct you into resolution. The next page we're going to look at in the journal is dedication on page 14. This is something from the Latin de decare, it's like to declare. So what would you declare? What would you state? What would you profess? Like, I resolve, I commit, I dedicate this day, this life. It's being devoted to serve or worship of a divine being or a sacred or to sacred uses. Maybe you didn't know that about yourself. That's okay. Let's consider that you came in with those needs, those necessities of how do you devote yourself to service, to worship of a divine being, and to sacred uses. It's okay if you're just starting to resolve this for yourself. To set apart to a definite use or service. So then you're dedicated to something and you're not dedicated to other things. So it starts becoming clarified. Are we going south or are we going north? I'm dedicated to north. Well, if you're dedicated to north, then your compass is going to tell you how you're doing. And if you're tracking north, and we have some ways in this world, it is one of the magnetic poles. So that a compass can actually in some way indicate, you know, with the sensitivity of that magnetism. There's also, is it Polaris? Is that the star that is also the North Star? I guess it depends on what language you use. In this part of the world, we just call it the North Star, but I think Polaris may be the name. Yeah, write to me later. I'm still learning. To name and offer, yeah, I think that's supposed to be offer. It might say often, but I think a name and offer a message prefixed to a book or artistic production expressing affection for a friend or cause. So like you dedicate something for someone or for a purpose. What is your dedication? So you could say something about that for yourself if you have. Continuing along the way on the obstacle course, we're on page 16, consecration. These words are coming from the Latin, and it's a rare language these days. It was not so long ago. In my lifetime, it was still spoken in the Roman Catholic Church. And then that changed up in my lifetime so that it was opened up so masses could be conducted in other languages. That's kind of amazing, huh? Here we go. It's con with and sacrare, the sacred. With the sacred, the act of making or declaring sacred, setting apart, or dedicating to the service and worship of God. The act of rendering sacred, hallow, or holy, to sanctify. The ordination to a sacred office. The act of giving the sacramental character to the Eucharistic elements of bread and wine, also referred to as Holy Communion. For those of you who've participated in a practice of that nature. Do you notice that the intentionality of these words is moving up the scale? I do. So if you didn't notice that, I'm pointing it out to you for you to consider. That as we move through looking at the resolution, looking at our commitment, our dedication, our devotion. Did we do devotion? Wow, that's interesting. Wow, okay. I think I just went right over that. And not one person noticed that, and I had to correct myself. Oh, okay. But you could speak out, hey, what about devotion? We might need that. Like do, re, mi, you know, like do, hey. And it's like, wait a minute. You didn't go through the scale in order. So devotion, which is on page 12, volvere, to vow. So it's similar to commit, but now we're starting to do something with greater intensity, greater meaning, greater purpose. The act of appropriating by vow, of dedicating by a solemn or formal act of consecrating, to give up wholly, to direct the attention of, wholly, or chiefly. Wow, sounds like we've got a lawyer writing this or something. What did you just say? Well, let's read the next sentence. A state of being devoted, ardent affection, zealous attachment. Maybe you say, well, I don't know if I want to have zealous attachment. Isn't that like getting in trouble or stuck or something like that? Religious fervor, piety. So be careful where you place your devotion, that it has greater value for you. Also, religious observance or worship and exercise of prayer and praise. So if you like, there's a question there for you. What is your devotion? So what comes after consecration on the scale? What was that? Celebration, yes. I was looking because maybe when somebody was correcting you, you left out God. No, I don't want to leave out God, no. It's all about God. It's also all about what I refer to as the consciousness. I heard JR earlier talk to that consciousness, the divine consciousness. We also refer to it as the Christ. You know, sometimes people pick up that as a religious term, you know, that's like your people, my people, that kind of thing. And that's not what we're doing. We're doing something of a universal nature. So the terms can move away so we can just move directly to what it is. So consider that I like the term anointed, that something can be authorized, can be enabled, and carry the knowledge, the ability, the power, whatever it takes to bring what is of a higher nature into this world and conduct it accordingly. So when we do that, lo and behold, there's celebration. And let's find out what the dictionary says about that. Again, Latin, celebrare. It's also celebrat, to frequent, to celebrate, to observe or commemorate with ceremonies of respect, festivity, or rejoicing, any joyous diversion, to perform a religious ceremony, to extol or praise, to make widely known display. Well, that was going on a few nights ago, and for whatever, it's like we mark this to the stroke of midnight, so that the beginning has an instantaneous meaning of celebration, that somehow we pass through a portal, a threshold that requires us to resolve, which goes back to what we were talking about at the start of today, that we solve the issues, we solve whatever is the problem, the challenges, and when we do, we celebrate, which I consider is important. It's marking that we are enduring. So if nothing else, you made it, you know, just mark that as a win, a victory, a triumph, you know, something that required of you what it takes. So you met the needs of the year. Well, I think I just kept breathing. I mean, that's about as much as I can claim in my victory. I'm still breathing. Well, consider there's something to that. There's something that requires you to overcome, to triumph in order to keep breathing. So every day, when I come into some kind of appreciation and gratitude, I mark breathing as a point of that it's important not to take that for granted, that in some way breath is being conducted into me beyond my control. And I fully acknowledge that it's a gift, that it's not something I order of, like I hereby order another breath now. See, I think that's kind of ridiculous. But at times, maybe it's important if you're 30 feet underwater and you've been there for a couple minutes, you might need that breath rather immediately. So you go shooting up to the earth. Oh, I learned something the other day I want to pass on, that the next time you're in a, an avalanche? So there's been some avalanches in our neighborhood recently. What do you mean? I go, well, the United States. So in the news, what I heard was if you spit when you're in an avalanche, that the spit would tell you where gravity is. And I haven't done that, so I don't know if this is accurate. I thought, well, why wouldn't you take something like, I don't know, keys, or if you have anything, your device that's with you wherever you are when you're in an avalanche, maybe just hold it up and see, does it go down like you think, or if it goes this way, it's like you're upside down. Do you understand that? If you release your device and it goes that way, then you'd say, oh, well, I think that's lower, and where I want to go is this way. Oh, wait a minute, my device went. Sacrifice your device, but except that it told you where gravity was. So who knows? So I'm a park ranger, and I hadn't heard that information before. But sometimes we have urban legends that are going around, so you can write me about that too. It's like, don't spit, that's ridiculous, because there's in the county where the avalanche occurred, no spitting is one of the laws. You're going to get busted for that. They're going to rescue you and then throw you in jail for spitting. Okay, so where we are is we're ready to do a process. And so I want you to do something today about resolution and share that with other people. The way we've set it up, that's all kinds of fun, is we put you into groups of 4. Let me demonstrate what 4 is. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's you and 3 others. That's another way of looking at it. I like to mix it up so you're with people, maybe you're just meeting or getting to know or something like that, so that it's not in your favor necessarily to find familiar people to do your process with. But we're going to set up a gong, and in case you don't know what I'm talking about, I think we're going to have that sound come forward now. That was good. So that's our gong, and that's going to ring to start and stop every turn. Each person in the group will start sharing on your turn until the gong sounds, and that would be now the next person in the group. Do you like clockwise or counterclockwise? Clockwise. Clockwise. In this age, that's becoming less meaningful. But it's not outlawed at this point, so that word still is usable. So clockwise would be, if you're in the group, it would be to your left, believe it or not. And that's okay. If you make it go to the right, that's just counterclockwise. Either way, it's going to work. But when you hear the gong, it starts your turn, or it stops your turn, or the next person in your group, and then you just go around. So we leave room for enough gongs for 4 people. If you have less than 4 people or more than 4 people, I'm going to let you do the math. We're just not set up for 3 or 5 or any other number. We're set up for 4. So we'll allow that amount of time. It's going to be about 4 minutes for each person. So what are we doing when we do our process? Right now in my mind, I have no idea because I've already forgotten the information. That's why I have this piece of paper in my hand to remind me of what we're going to be doing. Oh, yeah. We just have such a different format. Usually when we have a focus, it's highlighted in my information. But this year, I'm going to make it up. I don't need this. You see that? I'm flying without a net. Now I know what Superman sees. It's great. Okay. So I'd like you, during your 4 minutes, to talk about what is your resolution, and in some way look towards the guidance that we called forward here today is about this year, 2015. But if you don't have any idea what you're going to be doing in 2015, that's okay. What are you going to be doing today? What's your resolution? And I'd also like you to open it up so it's in this lifetime. So you give yourself permission for this lifetime, because in MSIA, we're playing that card, like it's going to all be complete in this lifetime. So keep it focused on that. What would you like to resolve to take place this year, this day, this lifetime? And then you can use any of the terms that we went through. So we looked at commitment, we looked at dedication, devotion, consecration, and be sure you take a moment for celebration. Okay? So what's the resolution? What's the celebration? And often if you can see the celebration, like what do you see? And if you see, I see a large crowd standing, giving great ovation, and I'm up on the platform and it says 1, and there's somebody over here has 2, and this one over here has 3. Oh, I won, you know, like I'm the champion. Something like that is helpful. If you can see the celebration, you know, sometimes people just tune into a thing, like I have a big picture window and I look out on the ocean and I see sailboats and I see people going by scantily clothed, you know, or something like that. Then that gives you an idea, like, I got a picture on it. Well, describe the picture, because maybe that's your celebration, your picture is telling you, and you can see the ending of it or the completion of it, and then back into it, like, how would I get to that celebration from here? Okay, so I gave you all the detailed, specific logistical information. You're not yet in groups of 4, but are there any questions about how we do this exercise? Okay, we did that. So form groups of 4, and then I'm going to speak to you before you begin. So form groups of 4 first. Somehow, some way, I'll let you work that out with the space available. Anybody looking for a group? Anybody looking for a group? And if you need more people in your group, raise your hand. Like you're 3, here's a group over here that looks like they need a person. Any other group need more people in your group? Anybody need more? I see back by the Christmas tree where I'm pointing, somebody needs more people. There's a group back there I can see still looking for other people. Maybe we can have an assistant join that group back there. All right. Before the gong, I have some more focus for you. before the gong. So I want you to be aware of the assistance, the support that's with you. So each person, be aware and conscious of the light. You can see it. You can feel it. This light carries the presence that we're seeking. It carries the presence that we're resolving toward. So this light is the consciousness, is the awareness, is all the abilities. It's also the clarity to know what serves the highest good of all concerned. So now you are being prepared, each one of us and your group, those who are with you in this process, are being prepared with this light so that you will bring forth the conscious awareness of the resolution of whatever is involved to bring you into a celebration of your life, that what you need to accomplish, what you need to experience, what you need to have as your direct experience is now present with you, revealing to you perfectly. So all you need to do is listen, observe, watch. So the awareness is tuned up right now. It's as if I'm hitting this spiritual tuning fork. We call it the sound current. And the sound current's vibrating you right now. Why? Because we have that blessing. We have this blessing that comes through the traveler consciousness, through the sound current, and through the light of God. That's the dissonance, by the way. But part of our resolution is to move from dissonance into the harmonic consonance that's with us. So having awareness of what's dissonant is in your value. It's in your blessing. It's okay if we hear what's not attuned, not of the harmonic. That means we're aware of what is attuned and is the harmonic. You can still listen to it. It's inside you. Go deeper. There's a sacred presence here. It's working through that one we know also as the Christ. Is that in the flesh? You have that in the flesh. It's clarifying the mind perfectly right now. And the gong will begin the first person and will take you around until all four people in the group have that opportunity to share about your resolution and share about your celebration.
Spiritual antithesis resolve. Diligently bringing my awareness to spiritual
It's easy
So hello, in case you were keeping up with us, we had 4 turns for 4 people. And even if you have no idea what happened just now, that's okay. Or whether anybody in your group shared because you're still traveling somewhere in inner space, that's okay too. So what I'd like you to do is do some more capturing of resolution, but also include celebration in your journal or any of the other questions we've been asking this morning. What is your commitment, your dedication, your devotion, your consecration? So we're just taking a few moments for your journal. Maybe your partners gave you something really precious just now, so capture anything that's present with you. We'll take, a couple minutes for that. And some of you I know are continuing to write some of your resolutions and celebration as you know it in this moment. For those of you who aren't here but you're online, in about an hour, brunch is planned. And so one of your New Year's resolutions could be, I just want to get something to eat. And we have it ready, and I found out it's a great deal. It's $20, and that allows you to have fruit skewers. Maybe you've said, I've never even had, that's on my bucket list. I'm going to have fruit skewers one day with pineapple, strawberry, and mango. We have baby lettuces with cucumbers and tomatoes with some cilantro dressing. We have orange Jell-O. When's the last time you had Jell-O? Maybe to honor your mom, you might want to do this one. with shredded carrots. We've got tiramisu. We've got gluten-free stuffed pancakes with blackberry jam, butter, and syrup. We got egg and cheese casadas. Okay. No, look, come here. You're correcting me, but look. Did I pronounce that correctly or not? Quesadas. Look, quesadas. The spelling is Q-U-E. So when you correct me, you better know what you're talking about. And go after this person. Do you know how to spell quesadilla? Everybody. Yeah. Chili rellenos, stuffed with chili peppers, chicken apple sausage, and grilled asparagus. So if you can get here in about an hour, it's going to be fresh. So there you go. And you can come into this energy field and walk the labyrinth. So some of you have been coming to the New Year's resolutions spa days. You know, I've gotten in a lot of trouble reading Lee's journals. If I took down, no, never mind. I have one here, it's fresh. And Lee was like, what are you going to do with my journal once again? But anyway, this is something actually Lee put on there. So it's a beautiful picture of a damsel and her lion. Can you see that? So she put that on the cover of her journal. It's a very nice, feels like leather cover journal to me. So journals often are blank because we need to fill them in with things that come forward. And with Lee's permission, I'm reading one particular page. She said, you can read this page. So I'm just giving you an example. Did you write this morning or before? I'm on the one you agreed to. I could read page. The first page you wrote.
That's okay.
Is that before today or today?
Oh, no, that's before today.
Before today. Okay. And remind me again, this journal's purpose?
Oh, it's sort of my bucket list journal.
Bucket list journal. So things like while I'm in the world, I would like to experience, accomplish that idea. So here are the words that she wrote on this page. I love you, God, Holy Spirit. I love you, JR. I love you, Jesus Christ. I love you, Joel. I love you, Lee. I love you, God, for everything. Oh, thank you, God, for everything. I love you, John. Thank you for that. So in her journal is a memento. And we got this in London. I think it was at the Winston Churchill Museum, or it's the one where kind of the bunker. It's worth going if you get to London. It's the actual place where they hung out, not too far from 10 Downing Street and that kind of thing. But let's bring that one up close. Your courage, your cheerfulness, your resolution will bring victory. This is an actual poster from 1939 that was on the streets, in public places. If you've been to London, there's often places where they can post public notices and that kind of thing, and came with a nice crown to give it some authority. But here's a resolution. I mean, you can just use this one. Your courage, your cheerfulness, your resolution will bring victory. And it was put up in 1939 when the bombs were a-comin', when there was lots of rubble, when there was lots of destruction, when there was death and mayhem. This is what they put up as a resolution. You know, he's famous for saying never, never, I'm probably not quite getting it, never surrender, like give up. So these are things that we can resolve, whether it's 1939 or 2015. We're going to take some moments right now for some sharing, which would include people online as well. And it would be good if we can focus on what we've just been doing since we've been here. We're looking at our resolution leading to our celebration. And we're doing that in this fount of wisdom and spiritual focus that is Peace Theological Seminary and College of Philosophy, and also the Peace Labyrinth and Gardens where we are. So we're going to start over here with a microphone. If you would start out with your name.
So my name is Stella, and I am very, very, very happy to be here. Very grateful, and very grateful for all of the miracles in 2014, and all of the experiencing fish and loaves where I didn't think there were many, and it was amazing. And I'm ready for 2015, and I'm open to anything that you would like to share with me.
You made it.
I made it.
So you're in triumph right now. You're in victory right now. And sometimes if we've just been through something that shook the daylights out of us, or we were experiencing things like fear, doubt, whatever we thought was going to happen was not happening. So then our attachments, our beliefs often are taken down as well, so we can experience that whatever I thought was going to happen. Good riddance. I don't know who first uttered those words, but it's something like let bygones be bygones. We can let it go. Like 2014 is gone, and bless it. So it's one of the rungs on our ladder. So just consider we are a group that went through 2014. Everybody in the room qualifies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's right. And unless you were just born here, I didn't hear the sound of an infant this morning, but that you made it. So acknowledge that, and also experience where you are. So right where you're standing, and she's standing, that you could experience that what's beneath your feet is solid. So even if it feels like it's moving, you might say, some of that's probably my movement. Like I'm not calm, so I'm experiencing that what's beneath my feet, what's beneath me in this world, what I stand upon is solid. There's some key words there: solid foundation. And that means something in the inner consciousness when we say that. I live in a solid foundation. 2015 is a solid foundation. Wherever I am, I find what I need, regardless of the conditions, regardless of what I expected or wanted. I find what I need. I can rely upon what I need is fully provided for now, fully prepared. So those are words. So I'm just sharing those. They sound like an affirmation. I am affirming what I want to experience, what I want to create. But then it can also become kinesthetic, and that helps the emotions. It helps the body, or I should say the mind. Often the body can help clarify the mind, settle the emotions, calm them down, just by coming into an experience. We often do this when we do meditations or spiritual exercise. Calm the body, quiet the body, be aware, relax, do these things consciously so that you feel integrated from your feet all the way up through the head into the extremities. If there's places in the body where there's tension, where there's some kind of pain, condition of any kind, That the reality is you're in the inner calm. Those are key words. I am in the inner calm. And in the inner calm, it's still. It's still waters run deep. But it's also something solid, like how did somebody walk on the water? Because they were of a nature that they could walk on the water, and the water was solid enough to support the walk. And do you experience what's going on, people?
Yes.
So there's a transmission here. How do we do that? We called it forth. So you prompted it. Do you notice your energy field right now as you stand there?
Yes.
How would
Yes.
you describe it?
Very calm, very peaceful, and I can see myself in the center of a hurricane, but I'm still in the eye, so it doesn't matter what is going on, I'm still in the eye, and I can move with the eye of the hurricane.
That's right. It's a vortex. And a vortex is where the power is. It's where it's anchored. So if you intend to be in the vortex of health, wealth, and happiness, so then you call it forth to yourself. You can say, I am a vortex, a sacred vortex of health, wealth, and happiness. Then you can share it. These are blessings. And we can access it in all kinds of ways. We can access it physically, just by calming the body. So if you're in shock, like what will we do? Often people who are in shock, they're in withdrawal, so the extremities go cold, so you do something that represents warmth. And one of the things that help with a person in shock is to touch them. You make sure you're touching them so you're not hurting them, but touch them in a way where they know they're in contact. And you can contact them with the voice, so the words you say are soothing, comforting. What would you like to know if you've just been through something that shook the daylights out of you? You're all right. You're safe now. Help is on the way. Just relax. And then sometimes that takes some adjustment, because there's parts of us that are still disturbed by whatever happened. But part of it is to understand you're through it. And that's one of the ways to help somebody, like, you're okay now. But, and it's like, you're okay now. It's like, that's over. If you calm your child from a nightmare, part of it is to let them know they're okay, and warm milk and cookies or something like that is on the way, or let's go get it. You change the focus to where you want to go. Anything else?
Thank you. That was so perfect. And what came up over and over again as you were telling me, particularly the living in solid ground, is that I am in the house of the traveler. Mm-hmm. What else can I ask for? So
you
thank
walk
you for
with
that
the
as
Lord.
Well. Yes.
So then the Lord walks in front of you, preparing the place. Now that's important to be in attunement with that. That's on my bucket list. Be in tune with the Lord's walk. So that wherever I walk, the Lord is walking with me, and that it's already prepared. So I look for the signs. One of the signs is the purple light. It is a sign. So can you see it in front of you? If you're getting in your car, do you see it with the car and going in front of you? It'll take a moment, like, I'm not seeing it. Oh, I got to get going. Really? Where are you going? Mm-hmm. At times it's like, no, the light is telling you stay still. Well, I can't even get the keys in the ignition. That can be the light. Earlier I couldn't find the words on the page. They were there. But then when I looked back and somebody, in the conscious mind called Alethea said, well, look, these are words. And I go, you know what? The Spirit wasn't allowing me to see that.
Right.
I know that I could see there was ink on the page, but I couldn't see the words. So I said, because it's got its own intention. So we did that. And I liked how it changed it up. I went, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's how I work. I work with something where my allegiance is to something inside that's not attached to anything in the world. It's safe all the time. It's always safe. So it's never threatened by the conditions I'm in. It's not threatened by anything in the world. And so that's important that you resolve with that now and at any moment. Then you can walk in that. We call that walking in the light. Like wherever you go, the light is with you as something calm, clear, bright, caring, sharing, helping. God bless you.
One more thing I want to say. Thank you again for that image of the celebration. One of my dreams is to live in a place where I can see the ocean, or I'm very close to the ocean, hear the waves, kind of like where you are living right now. And I never thought, no.
True.
I didn't mean that, but thank you for that, because I never thought about using that image as a way of celebrating, and I can do that all the time. So thank you.
Right, and where we're standing right now, at least where I am, you could probably be at that ocean in about, with traffic as it is right now, about 20 minutes. So it's not that far away. It's available to you, and then you can go there and claim it. This is my ocean.
Okay.
My ocean and I are one. Yes, I like to share it with other people. It's okay, you're all here. Welcome to my ocean. Welcome to my ocean. I celebrate you on my beach. Say that, like that's an attitude that's okay, because why? Because all of what is of God belongs to you. So if you look at God created the ocean, well, you're a co-inheritor, you're a partner in that. So it belongs to us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love you.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Okay, this is coming from Mercedes, and this is, how can I get less separate from the Spirit? Well, first of all, that's not correct. First of all, that's not the correct response from yourself to the Spirit. So just change it up to the correct response. What is it? I'm connected, whatever the word is that's important to you to describe your oneness with the Spirit. You claim it. And sometimes in the mind, if the mind is disturbed or contracted, and the emotions will give you a hint, the body will give you a hint. Like have something that comes out of your wallet or your pocket and it says, "Are you relaxed now?" Or something like that. And then look at that, and if you have room to be more relaxed, more open, to cooperate with your resolutions. Remember, the highest good is going to be a filter. So just go with whatever you got, and then be prepared to have correction. So that when something doesn't work out that you asked for, trust that you're playing with the Creator of all things, with who has all the possibility. You're playing with that Creator. So if that Creator hears my overriding intention is the highest good. So if it's not for the highest good, eliminate it now. I don't even want it in my mind. I certainly don't want things from my prior creations that in some way are causing me separation, causing me doubt, causing me fear. So release me from the attachments in my mind, in my consciousness that keep me beholden to something that is of a restricted nature, an illusionary nature. Bring me present with the blessings that are present. So I'm one with what's here now, in this opportunity, in this year. Show me the way. And then when you are granted this prayer, be prepared to cooperate. So you said, how can I cooperate with my resolutions? Be open, be ready and willing to come into cooperation with how it's working. I heard John Roger earlier describe it very clearly, that there is a way, and we must come into alignment. We must cooperate with the way it's working. And some of us want to say, I don't like your way. You better change it up to my liking. And say, I think you better change your attitude. Would you help me understand how it's working? Help me to be more willing to cooperate, to be more trusting. And you may be conditioned, so you've been worshiping the lesser gods. They're called negativity. So God is not a God of fear. It's not a God of doubt. It's not a God of restriction, pain, or suffering. So you need to clear that out. Like we spend a lot of time going clear, whatever your technique is. Just the whole intention is I'm going to be available, brand new to God's intention. I'll do another one here. This is from Steed. Hi, Steed. You're probably somewhere in the hinterlands of New Mexico, I bet. But who knows? I feel blessed and consecrated, validated that I was thinking about for this new year. My intentions are refined, amplified with this experience. God bless all this family. Blessings of love for JR, John, for all supporting, nurturing this experience and journey together. Thank you for that. So that's a kind of a resolution that we just shared. Anybody else in the room? This young man right here. We're going to bring you a microphone, and then we'd like you to stand up and speak.
All right. My name is Elijah, and so my question is, I have a tendency to think a lot, and every day, I feel like my thoughts get in the way of a lot of things. So my question is, how do I lose my mind?
Okay, so we all came in with requisite equipment or something like that. Tools, that's another way to look at it. So the mind is one of them. One of our friends let us know, a mind is a great servant, but a poor master. So don't put it in charge of your life, unless you like roller coasters and you like, going over cliffs and things like that. So use it as a tool. It's an instrument, and that there is a higher consciousness within you, Elijah, and it's you, and it can give direction to your mind. So one of the things we do in our spiritual practice here is we access soul awareness, spiritual awareness. We go directly for it. It is higher nature. It has more power. It's just not a bully. So just know that about the soul. It's not like go in there and slaughter those people. It's like, I don't do that. That's not the coin in my purse. So don't be surprised if your soul or your spiritual nature refuses to enter, where fools play. And often the mind has been in some way subjugated or conditioned into illusions, into places that aren't going to work in your favor. That's okay. I just look at that. That's part of the conditionality of the human condition. You have a mind, you have emotions, you have a character that makes you unique, an individual in your own way. We all have a set of those directions that came forward in a very particular way with the genetics, with our life experience and conditioning. Now, as you move into your higher consciousness, you can begin to release the patterns that no longer work. So that's part of the resolution, is to use your mind to pick up on what is your intention. And that's just a slight difference from a resolution. They both work. They're great ways of accessing awareness of what's on purpose for you now. There's a good question that you can put in your journal somewhere. What's on purpose for me now? Serving the highest good of all concerned. Answer that question, Answer it daily, and don't be surprised if it changes up from yesterday. It may do that. And also that today is a particular day, that we don't just have individual karma like islands, we have shared karma. So you see that person on your right there? Yeah. You have shared karma. Is that news? No, I didn't think it was news. No. You already knew that. You've had a lifetime of experiencing shared karma. And it's not bad news. You know, sometimes it can be the thing we call friction, where it feels like it's stuck or it's has irritation or things like that in how it's working, but it's working itself out into refinement. So that can be a quality that you can go towards with your mind. Like, how can I refine my life so that I have a better relationship with that? Is that your mom? Would you call her?
Yeah, that's my mom.
Okay. With my mom, like, that's a good question. And solving the karma that you share is on purpose for you now. Does that make sense? Because there's no accident that you're standing there and she's in close proximity in the brand new year at a place called New Year's Resolution. There's your mom. Then you can all look around like, who's nearby? Where am I? Who am I near? And let me just tell you, you're near a traveler. A traveler's in your life.
So
Making some noise for you, getting you to come awake, and guiding you into your higher purpose. The traveler that is most important is inside you as a living consciousness. So don't, in a sense, worship the name if you just found out about it a short time ago. It's not about the name. It's not how you spell it or pronounce it. It's the consciousness that is born with you in your soul's nature. That we're all set up to wake up spiritually, every single one of us. And my point of view is, let's get on with it. Let's make it happen in 2015 more than ever. Now, see, why wouldn't we want that? I go, yeah, then go ahead and take that. And I resolve to be more conscious in my soul than ever in 2015. It's like, well, are you prepared to do what that takes? Then you're going to find out, do you have the courage? Do you have the commitment? Do you have the willingness to let go of things that would say, hey, Elijah, you need to stop doing that. Like, you're a mature being. That's an immature thing. Try that out for a year. I will no longer do anything immature. Let's see if you make it to midnight today. Yeah. So in some way, just resolve, and you have a beautiful mind. Now, I claim that for you. Do you claim that for yourself?
I do.
Okay. So you have a beautiful mind, an instrument of the divine. Hey, I think that even rhymed. You know, so then that's what you use your mind for, like God's purpose. And if somebody tempts you, and there is a thing in your karmic field that would tempt you into the lower creations, everybody has a set of this, by the way. Can everybody say this? I don't have to. That's right. So if something not in your best interests, that's not serving the highest good, comes along and says, hey, come on, let's go, everybody's doing it. You have the I don't have to card. You carry it. Or I don't want to, or no thank you. That we all carry this ability in us to resolve our life into a higher purpose. And there's a consciousness we call the traveler that's standing there, breathing with you, that's fully set up to show you the way. Doesn't do it for you. And I don't care if you call it. So if you want to give it another name, you know, Joe Blow. I work with Joe Blow, the consciousness of God. It's like, okay, if that's what works for you. Do you understand if it works for you? If the divine comes presence because you go Joe Blow, you have truth that's guiding you. Follow the truth. God bless you. Okay, so let's see. I got a sign. Okay. Our timing. Hang on. Because I'm going to do a moment one with the blessing of 2015. So let me have help that everybody listening at any time in any place would be called into the blessing of 2015. So I'm even talking to people that aren't born yet. What? How would that work? Because what we do in this year is going to help you. So if you're born later, just consider you would want all the rungs on the ladder that led to your life and your incarnation to bless you. So help us from Spirit, wherever you are, to bless what we're all doing here, preparing the way for you to become your life in this world. And for those of us here, dear Lord, we give thanks that you are in our midst, that we fully acknowledge you, that it means we open our consciousness to receive you in full, that you come in the name of God, that you come in that purpose of the divine nature of all, that you give us the grace, the openness in our creativity to choose back, that we stand forward with our life, that we bring it into full consecration through our devotion and dedication, through our commitment that comes in our resolution that our life is already solved. It was solved from the moment we appeared in this world. And so we are those who are claiming that our lives are flourishing in your blessings, that we are instruments of your divine, going into this world doing good works, bringing forward those qualities that we know is loving, caring, and sharing, that this is a year where we abound, that our lives are a resounding joy, that these blessings are expanding, so there's health, wealth, and happiness, not just for each of us, but for all, that this planet can be restored in these blessings. That this planet was created with flourishing from the beginning. It was established like a great garden where everything is thriving. And we're those who are willingly attuning to this purpose. In this moment, this day, this year, forevermore. Berush Beshan. All right, let me take a moment with the spa, or I should say the labyrinth. It looks like this. It's out there for those of you physically, and those of you online. It's something like a journey that you fall where the white is, so you enter at a place, and if you fall that, so that you're not really crossing any line, you're just following through where it leads you. Eventually you end up here. Once you end up in the center, then you can walk out. And so it's kind of enough so that you can be coming and going into the center of the labyrinth. There's something you may want to read while you're there, or pause for a moment. You can take your intentions in, so that what is your intention, your resolution for this year? You also can leave what is no longer serving. So that's how a labyrinth is often used. It brings forward and manifests our intentionality, that we're doing something that is symbolic of a pattern. And by following that pattern, like if I said 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, there's celebration present. How'd you do that? I counted down to celebration. It was something like a ball coming out from the sky, and then we're in the new year. However that works. And that the labyrinth serves that purpose, to release what needs to be released and to bring forward and manifest what we want to create and resolve in this new year. There's going to be some folks to assist you. So if you have questions, if you're new, Miriam over here, and how do you pronounce your name? Maria Livia, and I hope that's close. So they'll help you. Lee has something that's very special for us as an attunement process. The intention that I've given our guest today is to make the sound of the labyrinth for this new year. And please welcome my wife, my beloved Lee Taylor Young.
This is really wonderful to share with you. I'm sharing a very beautiful musical friend of mine. His name is Tony Selvage. And if any of us here were at the memorial, then you would have heard him play his electric violin. I've known him since the early 70s. We were emerging out of our hippie time. I think Tony has held the banner since, and he is an exquisite musician. He used to play at my home seminars, which I started in about 1974. So please welcome Tony, and just see the blessing that John gave us, just riding into the heart of God on his sound. So, Tony. And now it's time for the labyrinth, and brunch will be at 12:30, and so please just enjoy. God bless you.